The forest did not welcome Siddhartha. It did not reject him either. It simply existed. Dark, indifferent, alive. As the city faded behind him, the sounds of civilization dissolved into something older. Leaves brushing against one another, insects calling through the night, the distant cry of unseen animals. With every step, the world felt closer and harsher. Siddhartha walked until his legs ached and his breath grew shallow. The ground was uneven. Roots caught his feet. Branches scratched his skin. This body, once protected by silk and servants, now felt fragile, exposed, unfamiliar, real. For the first time in his life, discomfort was not an idea. It was sensation. Cold crept slowly into his bones as the night deepened, not suddenly, not violently, but patiently. Hunger stirred quietly in his stomach, a dull ache rather than a cry. Fear appeared. Not dramatic, not overwhelming, but honest. The fear of the unknown, the fear of having no shelter, no plan, no guarantee of survival. Every sound now carried weight, a rustle in the leaves, a movement in the dark, a breath that was not his own. There were no walls here, no guards, no boundaries between him and the world as it truly was. For the first time, Siddhartha understood vulnerability, not as weakness, but as exposure. He stopped beneath a tree and sat down on the bare earth. The ground was damp, unforgiving. It did not adjust itself to his body. It did not soften. He wrapped the simple cloth tightly around his shoulders and closed his eyes. This is the life I chose, he thought, not to suffer, but to understand suffering. The difference felt subtle, yet immense. Sleep did not come easily. The body resisted. The mind wandered. Muscles ached. The spine stiffened. Images of the palace returned uninvited. Warm light, soft beds, the gentle sound of water, flowing through stone fountains. For a moment, the contrast felt almost unbearable. Then longing appeared, and Siddhartha saw it clearly. Even longing is a form of clinging. He did not fight it. He did not follow it. He stayed with the sensation. He observed the ache in his legs, the tightness in his chest, the restless movement of thought. Fear returned. He watched it. It shifted. Hunger tightened his stomach. He observed it. It changed. Nothing remained fixed when it was seen directly. The night passed slowly, measured not by time, but by awareness. When dawn finally arrived, it did not announce itself with beauty. It arrived quietly, a pale light filtering through leaves, birds calling, without concern for princes or destinies. Siddhartha opened his eyes. The world was the same, and yet it felt profoundly different. There was no one to serve him, no one to instruct him, no one to protect him. Every action now belonged entirely to him. Every mistake, every step. He stood slowly, feeling stiffness in his limbs. The body protested. It reminded him that it was no longer sheltered. But he listened, not with frustration, with curiosity. How far can this body go? What does it need? What does it resist? He began to walk again, not with urgency, but with attention. Villages appeared at a distance, smoke rising from morning fires. The faint sound of voices carried on the air. The scent of food reached him, sharp, immediate, tempting. For the first time, Siddhartha understood hunger as more than absence. It was desire, it was urgency, it was negotiation. The body pulled forward, the mind calculated. He did not beg, he did not demand. He accepted what was offered, sometimes nothing, sometimes a handful of rice, sometimes only water. Each encounter peeled away another layer of identity. No one bowed, no one recognized him. He was not a prince here, and something inside him loosened, without title, without name, without expectation. He was simply another human being, walking the earth. At first, this anonymity felt like loss. Then it began to feel like relief. No role to maintain, no image to protect, only presence. As days passed, the shock of this new life deepened. The sun burned his skin, rain soaked his clothing. The nights were long, lonely, uncertain. The body weakened, and yet the mind grew clearer. Without distraction, thought slowed. Without luxury, sensation sharpened. Without routine pleasure, awareness expanded. Siddhartha began to notice patterns. How craving arose with hunger. How fear appeared with uncertainty. How the mind searched constantly for comfort. And how suffering intensified. When those comforts were denied, he saw it not as punishment, but as process. He began to sit, not in palaces, not on cushions, but on bare earth, under trees, beside rivers, in open fields. He watched his breath, not to control it, but to know it. Inhale and existing, exhale, releasing. Thoughts came. He did not follow them. He watched them dissolve. Some days were filled with doubt. What if there is no answer? What if this path leads only to pain? But even doubt became an object of observation. Something that arose, something that passed. Nothing stayed. Slowly, very slowly, Siddhartha began to understand something essential. Freedom would not come from replacing one life with another, not from exchanging luxury for pain, not from trading pleasure for hardship. Extreme comfort had not freed him, and extreme discomfort would not free him either. The answer lay deeper, in seeing things exactly as they are, without attachment, without resistance, without illusion. The forest did not teach him through words. It taught him through experience, through hunger, through fatigue, through silence, through the steady rhythm of breath and awareness. The prince had vanished completely now. There was no return, no role to reclaim. Only a man walking forward, guided not by certainty but by honesty. Years of wandering still lay ahead. Teachers to meet, mistakes to make, extremes to endure. But the foundation had been laid. The great renunciation was no longer a moment. It was a way of living. Siddhartha Gautama walked deeper into the world, not as a ruler, not as a rebel, but as a seeker. And with every step away from the palace, he moved closer to the truth. That would one day change everything. As the days continued, Siddhartha began to notice something even more subtle. Suffering did not come only from hunger, nor only from cold, nor only from fear. It came from resistance, from the quiet tension of wanting things to be different than they were. When the body was tired, the mind protested. When the stomach was empty, desire spoke loudly. When the night was long, memory whispered comfort. And each time he resisted what was present, the suffering deepened. Not because the pain increased, but because the mind fought reality. This realization unsettled him, because it meant suffering was not imposed from the outside. It was created within. One afternoon, as he walked beneath the open sky, Siddhartha stopped suddenly. The sun was high, his throat was dry, his steps were slow. He noticed the thought arise, I should not feel this way. And immediately after it, another. This should be easier by now. He watched these thoughts closely, and something became clear. The pain itself was simple. The resistance was complex. When he stopped arguing with the moment, the pain remained, but the suffering softened. This was not a philosophy. It was direct experience. When hunger was met with awareness instead of complaint, it became sensation. When fatigue was met with curiosity instead of judgment, it became information. Even fear, when observed without escape, lost its authority. It still appeared, but it no longer ruled. Siddhartha began to understand why comfort had failed him. Comfort dulls awareness. Luxury distracts observation. And yet he also sensed that extreme hardship was not the answer. Suffering was not a teacher by itself. Awareness was. Pain could open the door, but only understanding could walk through it. At night, lying beneath the open sky, Siddhartha watched the stars. They did not care who he had been. They did not reward effort. They did not respond to desire. They simply were. And in their silence, he felt something unfamiliar. Acceptance. Not resignation, not defeat, but alignment. The world did not need to change. For clarity to arise, he needed to change the way he met it. Slowly, a quiet discipline began to form. Not rules and not vows, but attention. He learned to pause before reacting, to notice before reaching, to feel before naming. Breath became an anchor, not sacred, not mystical, just present. Each inhale grounding him in the body, each exhale loosening the grip of thought. Some days were harder than others. Some nights were filled with doubt, but something irreversible had begun. Siddhartha was no longer seeking escape. He was seeking understanding, and with each step taken in awareness rather than avoidance, the path ahead, though still unseen, felt real, not promised, but honest.